Thank you, everyone. I hope some of you were dancing in your seats. Hello, everyone. My name is Mena Koloko, and I serve as CorpsAfrica's Development Associate. The goal of this event today is to highlight the wonderful CorpsAfrica alumni and the impact of their service year on their professional and personal development. So what do we have in store for you today? Well, first, we're going to hear some words from our moderator, Director Astu Njai. Then we'll show you a short video. And then board member, Mr. Omar Lafura, will share some inspirational words. And finally, we'll hear from our wonderful panelists. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator for today, Director Astu Njai. Director Njai is a passionate women and youth advocate. She's an Olympian, a WNBA champion, a three-time women's African basketball champion, and mother to triplets. Astu Njai holds a master's in human resources and a master's in political science. She recently took the reins as CorpsAfrica Senegal's new director. We're so happy to have you here with us today, Director Njai. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mena. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Hello, everyone, and happy International Volunteer Day. And a great big thank you to all volunteers that have given their time, energy, and love to make a positive contribution. What is International Volunteer Day? International Volunteer Day is a campaign coordinated by the UN Volunteers Program to our collective humanity, to drive positive change through volunteerism. Today, we want to show our appreciation by celebrating CorpsAfrica's volunteers' tireless effort on International Volunteer Day. CorpsAfrica volunteers do valuable work. They engage communities, they build networks, and serve as critical liaisons between community and key development partners. It is especially important we hold an event like this in the season of giving. Great, and finally, a time to give. In the spirit of the season, we will appreciate any donation you give during or after the event. We will be posting a donation link periodically.
Thank you for those lovely words, Director Njai. We're so lucky to have you. And now we're going to share a video to give you a taste of our remarkable alumni. This video was a collaborative effort between our communications officers in Morocco, Senegal, Malawi, and Rwanda. It was edited by a very talented CorpsAfrica alumnus, Abdella Azizi. Abdella served as a volunteer in Malawi and now works as a professional videographer in Morocco. Let's take a look.
By being a CorpsAfrica volunteer, you met actually the person who you really are. You start believing in your capacities, you start believing in what you can do and what you can give and get from your community. You start believing that you are a good leader and you are someone who could lead the community toward the positive impact.
L'impact que CorpsAfrica a eu sur moi, je pense que c'est multiple sur le plan personnel, professionnel également. Et ça m'a permis également d'avoir une autre orientation professionnelle parce que actuellement, je m'oriente plus vers le développement communautaire en quelque sorte après mon service à CorpsAfrica Sénégal.
CorpsAfrica volunteering service has really impacted my life since I was able to gain experience in community development, which helped me to land a job in the field of community development. Currently, I am working as a field officer with Gift Electric, and in terms of professional growth, CorpsAfrica has really supported me in such a way that they once invited me to train their volunteers in making reusable sanitary pads, which is also a great opportunity for my personal and career development.
I have a background of a legal background, but by now I have a lot of experience in project proposal, project management, and monitoring and evaluation. By now, I have a great baggage to continue my career and to continue my life as well as serving other communities.
CorpsAfrica has enabled me to have a diversified experience. Through that experience, I have applied to be one of the African youth volunteers. I worked there as a communication associate in Nigeria. Now I'm working as a graphic designer and video producer with the UNICEF team here in Morocco.
During my CorpsAfrica service, I gained leadership skills in such a way of decision making, interacting with people, interacting with teams. Right now, I can make good decisions. Right now, I can interact easily with people. Currently, I work with Kadego Mlilongwe as a project field officer and assistant M&E officer. And CorpsAfrica has really helped me because the responsibilities that I was doing as a volunteer are the same responsibilities I'm doing now.
Pendant mon service à CorpsAfrica, déjà, j'ai gagné une famille, une communauté entière. J'ai gagné également des mentors à travers le personnel de CorpsAfrica, mes collègues alumni. Je pense que c'est une chose que j'ai appris, la tolérance, l'empathie, l'écoute et l'attente vis-à-vis d'une personne. Le volontariat, ça nous ouvre en fait l'esprit. Ça nous permet de voir le monde d'un autre œil.
I was introduced to CorpsAfrica early on and was very impressed by the model and have had the privilege of being invited to contribute in many ways to the organization since its creation. I often ask myself, why am I still a part of this organization? Why I contribute to this organization? And ultimately, to find answers to that question, I look to our volunteers and especially to our alumni. These young people are in many ways an inspiration to me as I witness their growth, their commitment to service, but most importantly, their attitude and the incredible sense of optimism they have with respect to their own futures and to the future of our country.
Working as a volunteer liaison with CorpsAfrica, I don't know, but it gives me the feeling like I am guiding heroes because I see those volunteers as heroes who are like leading their communities toward the good things and the greatest impact.
Thank you for that. As you can see, Africa's youth are incredibly capable. They have great potential and talent. They just need support and the opportunity to shine.
Okay. So as the country director of CorpsAfrica Senegal, has been really happy to pay it forward by helping to bring up and support Africa's next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers. CorpsAfrica has been equipping and supporting African youth as they build resilient communities in Africa since 2013. And no one knows this better than our keynote speaker, Mr. Omar Lafura, who you'll hear from in just a little bit. Mr. Lafura has been here from the very beginning. So please go on.
Thank you. Thank you, Mena. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. I'm Omar from Morocco. And again, thank you, Mena, for this introduction. Thank you all for having me here today. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to say a few words about CorpsAfrica, and especially about the volunteers and the alumni. I believe that the strongest testament to the organization's great success is its volunteers and alumni. They are among the most committed supporters and ambassadors of the organization. And today, on International Volunteer Day, we are rightfully celebrating them. And so as Mena mentioned, I've been involved with CorpsAfrica for some time now. I was introduced to the organization and its wonderful, passionate founder, Liz Fanning, in the spring of 2012. And at the time, her proposal did not have a lot of strong support, but I knew very early on that others would come to see it for what it was, a great initiative deserving the necessary support to bring it to fruition. And so since then, since 2012, I've had the privilege of witnessing the program evolve from, as we used to say, a scrappy startup, a one-person show, to now an impressive multinational organization with programs in, I believe now we're at 6 countries, over 50 people on staff, and an annual budget that exceeds $4 million. And it continues to grow every day. And so during this time, the past 10 years, CorpsAfrica sought out and formed critical partnerships, including the early support from OCP Foundation here in Morocco, which helped launch the inaugural program here and in other countries. And then later, and now, our second major partner, MasterCard Foundation, which has allowed us to significantly enhance the capacity and fuel the growth of the organization, allowing CorpsAfrica to expand even more. From my time as a board member, I witnessed firsthand the incredible capability of Africa's youth, with the youth population projected to reach more than 800 million in 2050. I believe this sheer size is probably the single greatest opportunity for real change on the continent. In fact, we are seeing more young people on the continent with tenacity and a strong sense of agency. I'm proud to support and be part of CorpsAfrica's efforts to help redefine and rewrite global development by promoting locally led development with youth in the driver's seat. If you are here, it means you also believe in the incredible untapped power and potential of young people on the continent. Events like this one tonight tell positive stories about the continent, should push us all to invest in Africa and again in its youth. And so it's been a great honor to witness and be part of CorpsAfrica's growth from the beginning. Thank you. Thank you for helping to make this organization a success. And I look forward, like you, to hear from our incredible alumni and from our moderator, Ashtu. I hope she'll be rejoining us. And of course, Mena, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lafouria, for those inspirational words. Now let's welcome and I'll introduce our alumni panelists. So in alphabetical order, first is Asma Berkia. Asma believes that education, innovation, and entrepreneurship are key to promoting sustainable development and active citizenship. Leveraging her passion for impact-driven work and her skill set, she has worked as a translator for the Peace Corps and as a volunteer for the High Atlas Foundation. She holds a BA in English linguistics. Next is Amadou Mansour Njai. Amadou is a passionate agripreneur and a Yali Fellow alumnus who's deeply committed to addressing food security in Africa. He has over 4 years of experience in community development and nutritional agricultural training for youth and women. Next is Peter Ndalasini. Peter is a dedicated gender equality advocate and leverages his extensive experience in facilitation, report writing, project design, and implementation to this end. He's the founder of 10 Plus Her Period, Her Pride, an initiative that targets period poverty among primary and secondary school girls. Peter holds a BS in public health. And finally, last but certainly not least, Aline Tuyashime. Aline has a deep interest and extensive experience in biotechnology and food security. Leveraging her skill set, she has worked for the Rwanda Food and Drugs Authority and the Rwanda Agricultural Board. She holds a BS in biotechnology and was a Yali Fellow in 2019. Welcome to you all, and thank you for being panelists.
Thank you. Thank you to our panelists for taking the time to be here today and to share their experiences and their point of view with all of us. We at CorpsAfrica are incredibly lucky to have you as role models and a statement to CorpsAfrica mission. Let's begin with some brief introduction by each of our panelists. So please tell us your full name, home country, current country, your service year, your community project, and what you are currently doing.
Okay, thank you. My name is Aline, and thank you for having me today. I'm from Rwanda, and I volunteered in CorpsAfrica First Cohort in 2018. I facilitated a kitchen garden project which decreased malnutrition rate in Rwanda, in my community as well, by 85% in only 3 months. Currently, I'm doing my master's in food security at the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom through the Chevening Scholarship that sponsored my studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Sorry about that. Asma, you can go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm very glad to be with you here today. So my name is Asma. I'm from Morocco. I served from 2019 to 2021 in one of the villages located in the High Atlas Mountain. So actually, I worked with my community to implement several projects, but I would love to highlight an agriculture business that I work with the local cooperative to implement. So the idea was to plant 23,000 of sapling tim, in order to ensure that the local cooperative would get the sufficient amount of raw materials, and also to ensure a seasonal income for the locals. And currently I'm working as a field coordinator with CorpsAfrica Morocco. Thank you.
Thanks, Asma. Peter?
Hi, everyone. My name is Peter Ndalasini from Malawi, and currently based in Lilongwe, a city which is located in the central region of Malawi. I served as a CorpsAfrica volunteer from 2018 up to 2019. That is in Group 3. And during my volunteering service with CorpsAfrica, I worked with my community in implementing and designing an irrigation project, which helped to increase income flow among a group of smallholder farmers in Tiewimbe, Kasungu district, which is also located in the central region of Malawi. Yeah, thank you. And currently I'm working with Give Directory Malawi as a field officer. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Mansour?
Hello, everyone. My name is Amadou Mansour Ndiaye, and I live in Senegal. I served in 2018-2019 in a Kaolack region in a village called Makambay. As a CorpsAfrica volunteer, I trained 38 women in agroecology best practices and facilitate an establishment of a groundnut of oil processing unit with my community. And currently, I'm a social entrepreneur with a project called Tolu Olek, which means youth sustainable farming, where I train young adults in agroecology best practices. I'm also the country coordinator of Food for Life program, a program of Mercy Ships International. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mansour. This next question is for Eileen. No, actually for Mansour. Mansour, do you think volunteering is important? And if yes, why?
Yes, I do. I think volunteering is important because I strongly believe that volunteering is the key of the development of Africa. Volunteering is a vehicle for a sustainable development. It enables people to participate in their own growth. Through volunteering, citizens build resilience, increase their knowledge, and develop a sense of responsibility for their own community. If I take my example, I was graduate at the Sheikh Anta Diop University at NAR in community development. And after my graduation, I was looking for gaining more experience, so to work with organization. And you know, if you don't have enough experience, it's difficult for organization to give you a credit, to give you responsibility. And that's why I was, you know, involved with CorpsAfrica and to be a volunteer. And I learned a lot from my community, and I developed a sense of responsibility for my own country.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Mansour. Eileen, what advice would you give to youth who want to be volunteers, and also to CorpsAfrica alumni?
Thank you very much for that question. For volunteers, I would say always to take time to interact with their community, as it will really help them with the implementation of their project, as this will not only help them carry out the project successfully, but will also help them with self-development. And the work you do will also can make a role model for your community. And I really encourage those who want to be volunteers to do so, because volunteering has helped me in my personal and professional growth. As when I started volunteering, it was in 2018. I was a fresh graduate with zero experience and wasn't really sure of the field I would love to get into after my studies. But after my 1 year of service, I had a clear path implemented in my heart, So I would say it simply helped me decide on what I would love to do and give me like a career path. For example, my project was all about reducing malnutrition in my community, and I acknowledged the importance of small-scale farmers for the development of the community and how those small-scale farmers play a major role in food security, both in Rwanda and Africa as well. And as you know, food security is interlinked with other sustainable development goal. For its own, it's like it's the second sustainable development goal. So as I was participating on that project, I found my love for food security and I started my journey in food security from that. From then on, I started like applying different jobs and even looking for different scholarship that can help me to be fully into food security. So I got like a job at Rwanda Food and Drugs Authority, where I'm currently working as a food and drugs specialist in my country. And as I said before, I started like working on my application when I was volunteering during my free time. And I got like a master's in food security in UK under Chevening scholarship. Finally, I would say you should make the most of your time with CorpsAfrica for those who are still volunteering, and make sure you stay in contact with CorpsAfrica staff as well as their partners during and after your service here. For example, when you are applying for a job, you can use them as a key references, and the work you do during your volunteer service is a great experience that you can discuss during your job or during your interview for studies. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, for sharing, Eileen. That's amazing. Going to Peter. Peter, we heard you have a heartwarming story during your service as a volunteer. Please share with us.
Thank you for the great question. When I was serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer in Te'ewi in Bekasungo district, there was a certain time whereby I decided to organize and facilitate a training whereby I was working with a group of women. It was a women club. So I decided to train these women on how to make cooking efficient stoves. For those who don't know cooking efficient stoves, they are those locally made stoves which they do use less firewood. And those stoves, they are mostly recommended by climate change activists, that is. So at the end of the training, the women, they were so happy. They started dancing. They were smiling. And the moment I saw them, you know, I really felt good because it was something wonderful. It was a great moment for me because the women, they were celebrating, they were dancing, they had smiles on their face because they managed to acquire a new skill which they didn't have before I went into the community which I was deployed. So it reminded me that indeed it actually feels great to give back to the community. You know, the moment you are utilizing your skills and in coming up with innovative solutions towards some of the challenges which our communities are facing, it puts a smile on their face. And as we are celebrating International Volunteers today, I would like to just to give a shout out to all volunteers, whether you are a CorpsAfrica volunteer or not, but the moment you are utilizing those skills, you are putting a smile on other people's face. So please continue doing that. You deserve a shout out. Yeah. Thank
Cassidy, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was muted again. I was just asking Asma, this question next is for you. How has your perspective changed while you were volunteering? And if you can give us a comparison as to how you were before your service and after.
Yeah, sure. Actually, before serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer, I thought that working in a rural area, it requires a lot of efforts, varied experience, and I thought that it would be only like a situation in which I only will give but not get. But actually, while serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer, I found myself that I'm learning too much from the locals who are very very resilient and creative. And I also figured out that those locals are very aware of their natural resources, values, trends, and so on. All they need is my guidance and support in order to achieve a positive impact and evaluate what they had in order to develop their environments and themselves as well. Thank you.
Great. Mosul, please share with us one lesson you learned during your service. CorpsAfrica, of course.
Yeah, thank you for this question, Astu. During my service, I was working with two other volunteers, Abdul Koli and Hadi. And in Hadi's side, we had to do an activity where we had to look for birth certificates for the children of the community and prioritize children in the exam class. And I learned that there were many people who couldn't take their exam because they did not have a birth certificate. It's not automatic to have a birth certificate like in some countries. Here you have, if you give birth, like you have to go to the municipality to declare and to have the birth certificate. And here, and this information made me realize that there were undoubtedly many people who, how can I say, many people who their future was compromised because they did not have a birth certificate. So if you don't have it, you can't do your exam, you can't have an identification card, you can have a passport, so you can travel also. And in conclusion, we said to ourselves, to make the development of this country, we have to include everyone. We have to not to exclude people. We have to bring everyone together so that we can do the development that we want. And we have managed to improve the situation through a campaign to obtain, birth certificate for the children of the community of Hadi. And today we have set up an association that works in this direction for the other communities. And the lesson that I learned is that we need everyone to make the development that we want. Yes.
Amazing. Making impact big time. That's amazing. Thank you, Mansour. And just for a note, I'm not twinning with Liz today. I'm on her computer. So this is not Liz talking, it's Astu and Jai. Thank you. I needed to mention that. And I'm going to go to Peter for that. Peter, do you think that serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer changed the real community's perception as to youth leadership and as to their capacity to bring positive change in the communities?
Yeah, let me say that serving as an African as an African volunteer in an African setting or community or country, it really made a great difference to my country. Since most of the times Africans, we kind of look down on ourselves that we cannot manage to bring positive change unless there's someone outside our country or our community, that is. So, looking just at the Africa model as a base community development approach, it's an approach which is promoting that development is within us and it should be from the locus. And so when I went to my side and started serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer, it helped to change the perception of the Lulu communities members that development is within us, and us as young leaders from African countries, we are the assets which they have been looking for. And as an asset to your country, to your community, you have to identify the skills which you have, utilize those skills in coming up with innovative or sustainable solutions towards some of the challenges which we are currently facing. So I went there and they started seeing me as an asset. And at the same time, I'm not saying that we shouldn't seek help from others, but before we seek help from others, we have to make sure that we start ourselves. You know, that is yourself. You know, we have to start ourselves and let others join us later, because there's no way I can say that we cannot seek help from others, because whenever, as far as development is actually concerned, you know, collaboration has to be there, because group models, they are always much better than individual ones. And no man is an island, no one is perfect. But before we do that, we have to start ourselves, and we have to seek collaborations from others. At the same time, serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer, when I was serving as a CorpsAfrica volunteer, you know, a lot of young people from my community, they were so interested in our volunteering service. They used to ask me, how can we also be CorpsAfrica volunteers? What are some of the requirements? You know, so when I was explaining to them how it goes, like the recruitment process, that you need to be someone maybe who has got a university degree, you know, I used to act like it as a role model. You know, a lot of young people from the rural communities, they are not educated. So I acted like a role model, that, you know, education is really important in order to get some of the opportunities. And I was so inspired that someone who is from the urban area is now based in a low community. So it also made a great impact among young people, that they need to get education, since education is the key to success. Yeah, thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Peter. For the sake of time, we're going to do one more question and open it to the audience for questioning, okay? This question is for you, Asma. During your service, how did you use partnerships? And also asking are you still in contact with your partner and partners and relationship?
Yeah. From my very first day on my site, I knew that I needed to form partnership. I needed someone who could help facilitate my conversations with the host community. I also recognized that the local project partner or counterparts would be the real change maker or organizer of activities. Without them, I would not be able to do much. I always relied on my host community assistance and participation. So yes, partnership played an important role, not only in project realization, but also in project sustainability. And yes, of course, I am still in contact with my partners and my host family. My host family are doing great. They given me regular updates on the primary school, on the students' progress, teachers' feedback, and on the new kids who joined the kindergarten, which was my primary project. I often visit my site also because it is my second home. When I visit, I check on the projects that we worked on, and I am continuing to support meetings with their new partners and associations.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to open it to the audience for questions. It's Modouhaban Fall in Senegal. And he's asking, what would you do better if you were to do your service back again?
Okay, for me, I think if I got like a chance of going back to my community, one of the things I could go is just spending more time with my community at the start, because I have realized this like after 3 or 4 months of my services, because I went there like with the project already implemented in my head, like I'm going to do this, they need this and they need this. And when I started like implementing those things, I just like failed. And after that, I just like realized that maybe I need to listen to them. That's how my project started like blooming. And that's how I finally succeeded in my project. And I think if I would do that like at the start of my project, it would have been easy for me to succeed in that project. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. And this is from a volunteer that is on site right now. So this would be very helpful to them. And second question is from Mohamedou Tal, also from Senegal. How would you describe the solidarity between volunteers? Either do you want to take that? He's asking how you describe solidarity between the volunteers.
With our cohort, the third one, during our PhD, the staff did a great job for us in order to make all of us in the same, environment to learn from each other. And it was so, how I can describe how we was as a group, we was one, we was helping each other. We came from different backgrounds. So of course we were sharing our knowledge, our experience in community development. And even during our service, we still, collaborate, working together. And if I can take the example of our, because we were three in the center of Senegal, in Kaolack and in Fatick. I'm a specialist in community development, but Hadi was, how can I say, Hadi was did law, and because we all the time interact, so I learned a lot from her. So it was, so deep, the relationship that we have. I can say between us volunteer, we would the volunteer were my first people that I try to reach if I have a problem. And it was work that the staff did in the beginning of our service.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mansour. I mean, the work of volunteers starts on the volunteer. So that's a great example of that. You have any other question, or Hamza, do you have anything to add to that? Another question here from Jack Allison. The ask is, how have you worked with Peace Corps volunteer on the same projects? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I answer to this question? I work with two different Peace Corps volunteer during my service, and it was a very good collaboration. The first one was a training in best agroecology practices, and I was working with someone called Jimmy, and he helped me in my community and trained the women of my community in how to regenerate the soil. It was a very good collaboration. I learned a lot from him, and we still in touch. We still trying to see how we can do together after our service. I work also with another, Peace Corps volunteer. She was in the same area. Her village was something like 2 miles from my village, and she did a great job in the renovation of 2 classrooms that I did in my village, and it was just amazing. It was a great collaboration. Yeah.
Thank you, Mansour. I see a few more questions coming, so we can keep rolling. There's Dorothy Mapira, and she's asking to all panelists, and we'll take a 2 quick intervention for her question. Did you encounter a moment which prompted or made you decide to quit your volunteering service, and what did you do to overcome the challenge?
So when I went to my community, when I was deployed to my community, it was during the rainy season. So for those who have been to Africa during the rainy seasons, most Africans, they are busy in their farms. Like they literally, they do not have like more time for community meetings. So when I was going to my community, I was like, okay, once I went there, I'm going to call for a community meeting, and we are going to discuss some of the challenges which they have been facing. From that, we're going to come up with possible solutions. Then after that, I'm going to come up with a community project. To my surprise, everyone was busy, almost like the whole village. So I was so disappointed, like, what am I going to do? So should I quit or not? Maybe I think it's better just to go back home, like go back to the city. And so after some time, after I worked with my program coordinator, by then she was Sarah. She told me that, no, what you're going to do is like, maybe you can just be visiting them in their homes, not like having like a meeting with them, but just as one way of integrating with them. whenever you see some people, maybe they are chatting, they are having a normal conversation, you have to be interacting with them. You should focus mostly on integration. You know, after that, after I started doing that, I was able to identify a project from just a normal conversation which people were having. You know, they are talking something about like having a farm, but they didn't have like the ability to grow more crops since they didn't have like a water pump. So then I was so interested in the conversation, and I started asking them, what are some of the possible solutions to your problem? Then they started telling me, you know, I think if, let's assume we had a water pump, we could have been growing more crops. Then after that, I was like, oh, I think this could be one of the projects which I can implement in my community. So after that conversation, after some days, I approached them again, and we started discussing if we can manage to implement a project with them. And at the end of my service, I implemented an irrigation project through which I picked through a normal conversation rather than a committee meeting. So from this experience, I also learned that, you know, the real challenges which the community are facing, they are actually identified through a normal conversation. When people, they are having a normal conversation, they really express what they are looking for and what we can do in order to like come up with something which can specifically meet their needs. Rather than a community meeting, some people, they can just be guessing. Maybe they can be lashing somewhere else. They can just be guessing, okay, let us do this, so that they can just go home. But when they are having a normal conversation, that's when you can pick something which they are indeed really experiencing. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. I hope our volunteers are learning and listening very well to Peter. We have one more question from Mohamedou Tal, and we're going to wrap up. Mohamedou is asking, what should be the role of our states in the noble mission according to you? And if you can answer maybe one or two people in about 30 seconds each, that would be great. The question is the role of our states in the mission that we are doing as CorpsAfrica volunteers and as an association. The government. Anybody want to take that? Go ahead, Maso.
Yeah, I just want to add from what Peter already said. In my case, when I arrived in my village, what I said first is what I'm doing here. I just wanted to go back to Dakar because I'm from Dakar, just in brackets. And I think the government should, you know, support the organization, the association who are promoting volunteering, because as I said in the beginning of the panel, we have more than 70,000 graduates here in Senegal each year, and just 30,000 find a job. I can say only for Senegal because I don't know how it's worked for the other countries. And you know, with this number of people who graduate from university, they need experience, they need to learn. And I think with this number, we have to promote volunteering. We have to support organizations who are promoting volunteering. And I'm a perfect example of, you know, how volunteering can give credit to the youth, and it can also help in our process of development. We are, if we can say, a developing country, and we need more people who involved in our development process.
Thank you, Masu. And again, thank you to our amazing panelists. I had one last question, but it mirrors exactly what Aminda Ogei, exchange volunteer for Malawi, is asking. Just one word from each of you when it comes to your service. One word as a CorpsAfrica alumni. Asma?
I will describe it as self-discovery.
Self-discovery. Mansour?
Learning.
Eileen? You're muted. You're muted,
Sorry,
Eileen.
Yeah, sorry. I would say it was fruitful for both my community and me as well.
Thank you. Peter?
I would say that it was awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mansour talked, right? Okay. So thank you all so much. And thank you to all the facilitators. We see the impact that CorpsAfrica alumni and volunteers are having in our beautiful continent. Thank you all to our amazing panelists for participating and to all who made this session happen. And happy International Volunteer Day to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.